Suspend your disbelief, your rational, analytic mind, just for a minute, just for the length of this podcast. What if all I am about to tell you is the truth? What if the information you will be provided is from a divine source? Just for this time, I am your Axis Mundi. Consider this podcast your channel, your second opinion. When I do a reading, something larger than myself is working through me. So ask what you wish. This is your channel, your doorway to the divine. Oh, welcome to John's Tarot. Welcome to you from wherever in the world you may be listening. Yeah, I got to be that. Those are a lot of fun. I'm not going to go into my usual long intro as I usually do. I hope you're all doing well out there, and I hope you're ready to take a little thought adventure, a little thought trip with me today, because that's what all my podcasts are about, is taking a little thought trip. I hope you've also been enjoying my short videos I have up on John's Tarot about the bobbleheads, my little bobblehead videos. Have you liked them? They're pretty good. I think they're pretty funny. Some people get a little upset about them. I got an idea for a few more of them, and I'm going to keep on making them. Today I'm going to talk about the economy, which isn't a very funny subject. And let me tell you how I'm going to approach it. I am not an economist. I am not an economic whiz. I'll tell you, I've worked very hard, and I saved my money, and that's the only way I knew how to make any money. So I'm not a very smart on economy, but I am a pretty good nurse. I've been an ICU nurse now for over 20 years. I've been an ICU. I've been a nurse for 25 years. I've been in healthcare, either psych or nursing for about 30 years, 34 years, something like that. And so what I do, as I did in my earlier videos when I took a look at the symptoms of patient X, is I look at symptoms and I gather the symptoms together. I'm very intuitive, which is what happens. I'm very intuitive, and I take a look at the symptoms, and then I put together a coherent picture of what is taking place, what is going on with the patient. And that is the course I'm going to take with this video today. So the patient is our country's economy. We're going to take a look at some symptoms and exactly what are the symptoms telling us about the health of the patient. So let me move over to my presentation page. There we go. We're at the presentation page. Here we are at the presentation page. First off, we need to take a look at the information we've been provided, and there's a problem with that because Donald Trump, the U.S. President Donald Trump, has fired the boss of America's most important economic institutions hours after a weaker than expected jobs data stoked further alarm about his tariff policy. On social media, Trump claimed that Erica McIntyre, commissioner of the Bureau of Labor and Statistics, had rigged the jobs figures to make Republicans and me look bad. So he looks at this as a personal reflection on him rather than an honest examination of the numbers. The unprecedented move by the White House speaker, accusations that Trump was politicizing the economic data. The Senate's top Democrat, Chuck Schumer, said that a president was a bad leader who shoots the messenger for weak statistics. You can't really fire the statistician, the person who gathers the number, because you don't like the numbers, and he's going to hire somebody who gives him the numbers he wants. The U.S. stock markets were rattled on Friday after Trump, a Republican, forged ahead with his plans to raise import tariffs on goods from countries around the world. Figures were then released by BLS showing that employers in the U.S. added just 73,000 jobs in July, far below the forecast of 109 new roles. The agency also revised down employment growth in May and June, reporting 250,000 fewer jobs than previously thought. It was the largest downward revision in employment figures apart from the COVID era since 1979. So yeah, that's what he did. He got rid of the person who put together the numbers, and now he's going to bring in somebody who's going to give him the numbers he likes, and then he's going to present those figures to us. So the question is, can we trust the government figures that they're going to be doctored like that? It's just the whole world is looking at this, and they're wondering, can we now trust the United States economic figures, since we can see that Trump is obviously going to be changing the figures to suit his mood. Let me move on to my first little examination. So I have gathered some clues. I have examined some symptoms of the economy. And that's what we're going to do now, is we're going to take a look at some symptoms of the economy. My first symptom is going to be on the booming economy. Peter Schiff mocks Trump's booming economy, claim as July deficit jumps to $291 billion despite record high tariffs. The U.S. budget deficit widened in July despite Donald Trump's tariffs jumped nearly 275% year over year to a record high, drawing a sharp criticism from economist Peter Schiff on Tuesday. On X, Schiff, a gold bull, said the U.S. July budget deficit shot up 20% year over year to $291 billion, despite record tariff revenue. He noted that this was the second largest July deficit on record, after the $302 billion deficit recorded for July 2021. Schiff also refuted Trump's claim of a booming economy. Trump claims the U.S. economy is booming, but a booming economy results in lower, not higher deficits, he said, adding that deficits rise when the economy is weak. The truth is the U.S. economy is cooling fast, so deficits will keep rising and be much higher during the next official recession, he added. So this is from this guy, Mr. Schiff. This is a symptom. The economy is not booming. Instead, it's cooling, and that should be a concern for us all. My next little story here is from the Wall Street Journal. Trump pledged to bring back manufacturing. The sector is sputtering. So he promised to bring back manufacturing jobs. What is happening in the manufacturing sector? And this is a story from the Wall Street Journal. And I just have a few paragraphs. The Wall Street Journal reported on Wednesday that the American manufacturing economy, which Trump has claimed will benefit most from his tariffs, is currently sputtering as companies face higher costs of key inputs such as steel, aluminum, and copper. From March to July, U.S. manufacturing activity contracted, according to the Institute for Supply Management monthly survey, noted the Wall Street Journal. The manufacturing PMI last registered at 48, below the 50 score that differentiates growth and decline. The journal also cites top domestic manufacturers such as Whirlpool, Polaris, Harley-Davidson, who say that consumer demand has been hit in recent months as consumers pull back spending in the face of the president's tariffs. In fact, Polaris CEO Mike Spencer told investors during a recent earnings call that consumers are really just reluctant to go spend right now unless they really need to or they're fortunate enough to have financial flexibility to do that. Data released last week also showed that the American labor market overall was nearly ground to a halt over the last 3 months, as the economy added an average of 35,000 jobs per month from May to July. So people are reluctant to buy. People are reluctant to spend money as they're unsure of the economy, as the uncertainty from the tariffs presents itself to us. And this is a part of, I'm concerned, what are tariffs going to do to cost of living? In fact, I want to ask you, since tariffs have been brought on, has your standard of living gone up? Has your budget been softened? What has happened to your budget? Have the tariffs at all managed to benefit you in any way? If so, send me an email, send me a note, and I would like to know how you have been benefited by the tariffs. Do you have more disposable wealth? Let me know. From my observations, prices continue to go up, wages continue to be flat, and there's nothing but more in the future, it seems to be promised. Let me move on to my next story. This is a weird indicator here. This was not looking great out there. Analysts warn this unexpected indicator predicts Trump slumps. Bloomberg reports falling cardboard box sales are starting to worry analysts about consumer spending in the Trump economy. It's just not happening, and they have no control over it, said Adam Josephson, a former sell-side analyst who covers the paper and packaging sector. Across all industries, all the measures I track are pointing to a not very good direction. Bloomberg reports U.S. box shipments to retailers for the purpose of packaging new purchases fell to the lowest second quarter reading since 2015, according to data from Fiber Box Association. Meanwhile, Memphis-based International Paper Company, one of the world's largest pulp and paper companies, reported a 5% drop in daily U.S. box shipments in the same quarter compared to a year ago. Bloomberg reports International Paper recently announced that it will close 4 facilities, including a mill that helped keep a small town alive in Louisiana. Paper companies Smurfit Weststock announced plans to shutter one of its mills in Iowa. In short, it's not looking great out there for box manufacturers, reports Bloomberg's reporter Eileen Peng. So the people who make cardboard boxes that they used to, which we used to ship products in or packaged products, that demand is going down. That is an indicator. That is a symptom of a systemic problem. If we're not making as many products, what is stifling the products? What is stifling the economy? The economy is showing signs of being symptomatic. It's showing signs of not feeling well. It's showing signs of possible need for attention. And is the current attention doing it any good? Let me move on to this story here. You'll find this one interesting. This one, my next story, has to do with Las Vegas. What happens in Las Vegas matters on a national scale because it often reflects larger trends, according to Andrew Woods, the director of the Center for Business and Economic Research at the University of Nevada, Las Vegas. It tends to be a signal for potentially where the economy is headed, he said. A lot of the slowdown we've seen in international travel is, from what I understand, primarily driven by the Canadian visitations, he said. NPR has previously reported that many Canadians have scrapped their travel plans to the U.S. in protest of Trump's 35% tariffs on many Canadian goods and repeated remarks suggesting the country should become the 51st state of the United States. In the U.S., more broadly, there was a drop in international travelers from nearly every region in the world in June compared to last year, according to a preliminary summary from the National Travel and Tourism Office. I'll go ahead and continue to run that in the background. Have you ever seen Vegas so empty? I say that Vegas is a barometer of possible health condition of our economy. When there is disposable income, people go to Las Vegas to spend money. The bookings are down this year. I understand that. Have you ever seen Fremont Street that empty ever? It's busy at 3 a.m. I've never seen the Fremont experience this empty in the past. It is an indicator. It's a symptom of a weak economy. Now, I'm going to throw in one more indicator. Of course, this being John's tarot, we're going to take a look at what the tarot would have to say about this, because I don't consider the tarot to be an absolute. But we're going to throw some cards and see exactly what the tarot has to say. And I'll be as interested as you. But it'll give us some warning on what we need to look forward to in the months ahead. So let me move over to my tarot page. And here we go. All right. My ability to read tarot is a gift. It's an expression of divine love, and I'm here to share it with you in that same spirit. And I have my up in the corner. I have my runes. I only am going to use runes in case of to clear up any cards I'm not certain about. I'm not going to do a runic reading unless I ask several questions. So let me go ahead and shuffle the deck. So, what can we expect from the economy over the next 2 months? Because this is the middle of August, let's say over the next month and a half, from this time till the end of September. What kind of energy is surrounding the economy? And that is a question I'm going to ask. What kind of energy is surrounding the economy from this time, middle of August 15th, until the end of September? What kind of energy is surrounding the economy? All right, and my first card, that's us. That's the Three of Wands. As we look into the future, we've made some decisions. We've all made some decisions, some financial decisions and things of that nature, and we're waiting to see what kind of results we're going to have. And the card covering that, or an obstacle covering us, is the Judgment card. And that has to do with the death of one thing, the birth of another, not necessarily the beginning of a cycle, but the old man must die before the new man may be born. So that is the obstacle that faces us right now. I see that as being just things are not going to change. The obstacle is the old man who's in charge of everything. And we know who that is, and I'm not going to comment on that. That's just what the cards say, and that is a reading on the card. This sits on the foundation of the Ace of Cups. The Ace of Cups has to do with a foundation. We see a dove flying down, and the hand of providence is holding a cup, and we're being offered opportunities. Will we accept the opportunity? Will we accept the opportunity of this reading? Will we accept the opportunity this reading will provide? Will we accept the opportunity of the evidence that's being presented? That is the Ace of Cups. Behind us, we have the King of Wands. The King of Wands is the entrepreneur. And he's very sure of himself, and he's very confident. And I think that, again, points to our current chief executive. In the past, he's been very confident, very sure of himself, very willing to guide, willing to lead, and willing to give orders. And that is the guy we currently have in there. The Knight of Swords, the power that is above us, in the sky above us. The Knight of Swords has to do with a beginning. The energy that faces us is new opportunities, new chances, but it also is a thing that connected to this card that says some people are unable to see their shortcomings, no matter how hard you try to show them. And I think that is talking about the King of Swords and the old man. It is impossible for him to see his shortcomings, no matter how hard, no matter what the economy does. He's always going to be telling us, things are great, things are wonderful, even as our wages continue to stagnate. It's great for him, wonderful for him. He's making billions of dollars in crypto. Not so great for us. So let me move up one more card. What's ahead of us? The general. Unfortunately, this is talking about the old man. There we go again. We have the Seven of Swords, and that has to do with this energy that's facing us, things that are coming in the near future. There's some dishonesty there. At some level, this guy knows that he is being dishonest to the American people, and things are not exactly as he has been presenting them, and that is dishonesty. I wish I had something more positive to say about this, but that's our guy. What kind of what kind of energy do we feel as we are or as we see ourselves? Let's see what the card is. The King of Coins. The American people see that this is going to be a long phase of growth. You see, it's a knight sitting on a horse, but it's more of a plow horse. So he's going to plant a crop, and that crop is going to take time to grow. So things are going to change. There's good positive energy there that's going to change, but it's going to be real slow. And I don't even know if it's going to happen in this administration. And then this card here has to do with outside influences or environment. Again, it talks about expect more from, that is the Seven of Pentacles, and that talks about expect more from, how can I say this, planting a crop and waiting for it to grow, then winning the lottery all at once. So this is going to be a long process. Hopes and fears is going to be the two of wands, and I already drew the what's ahead of us. So the hopes and fears, we're balancing different things. All the information isn't in yet. As we move into the future, and we're concerned about tariffs, we're concerned about rising costs, we're concerned about prices. We're juggling a lot of things. There's a lot of uncertainty as we continue to juggle. You see, he's also on one foot, the guy holding the Two of Pentacles. And that's us, the American consumer. We're just unsure. We're balancing all these things in our lives. And I talked about it in my podcast the other day, our leadership should bring us some sense of security rather than a sense of insecurity and uncertainty in the future. And that's just not what we're getting. And then the final outcome, there's going to be something that's going to happen. It's going to happen very quickly at the end of September, because I asked about September. Something's going to happen very quickly. And I don't know what that is. I could ask, but I'll save that for another time. So I think I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. I'm not going to make this a all-day affair.
Goodbye, Professor Marvel, and thanks a lot.
Well, it was my pleasure. Take a look up at my webpage at johnstarrow.net, or you can look on my YouTube page. YouTube is really shutting me down. They're really stifling me in terms of the things I'm putting up there. This is not popular on YouTube. None of the things I'm talking about. I think they're already shutting down small people like me who aren't saying the things that a good MAGA would say. I'm not a good MAGA, obviously. So they're shutting me down. But you can find me on YouTube. I'm also doing a podcast every week. I've been doing it on Tuesday. I'm going to have to shift to Wednesday. I'm just kind of tired on Tuesday because I'm working. So I might just shift that to Wednesday. And if you would like to appear as a guest, you have a book, you have something you'd like to talk about, contact me and we'll set up an interview with you. So until next week, be careful, be cool, be kind. And remember, find strength, have courage, find faith, and I will see you all again next week. Okay, bye-bye.